Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur, and this is going to be a more serious video, I suppose. It's something that I read, and it's hitting me for very different reasons than I expected. As you all know, Toys R Us has filed for bankruptcy now. There might be a last-minute say for the company. They plan to start liquidating the stores next week. However, investors are interested. They are talking with people. There might be a buyout. It's actually kind of fascinating because Toys R Us seems to be a company that people truly don't want to go out of business. Even some of the competitors are stepping in saying, hey, we'll save you. We'll save you. We don't want Toys R Us to go anywhere. And I agree. I think there should be toy stores. And also, if Toys R Us goes out of business, apparently KB Toys might be making a comeback. So it's been a very interesting week. But today, I read that the founder of Toys R Us, Charles, his name is Charles Lazarus, died at 94. And that's sad in and of itself. I mean, I don't have any personal connection to the man, to be truthful. Well, I've never really heard of him before now. He was not someone who I was aware existed growing up. Of course, I was aware that the toy stores existed. I was aware that Toys R Us existed, but I didn't realize that Charles was a person. I knew Michael Eisner existed, and maybe Bill Gates, but as a kid, I didn't know who Charles was, which was interesting because, Charles made most of his money off people like me, who had parents with money who would go in and buy an action figure. In fact, just to... these are Toys R Us toys. I've had these for years, and I basically use them to act out whenever I get stuck on like a script. I act out the scene, and they're falling apart. Like, as you can see, there's like a hole there, and it kind of just jiggles around. And poor Batman, his leg keeps falling out. Poor guy. But I got him at Toys R Us, and I can probably never replace him now, because not only do they not make those anymore, but Toys R Us is going away. Where was I? That's right. Everyone who wants to criticize me for not getting to the point sooner definitely has legitimate reason to do so here. I got caught up in memories. But his death hit me a little bit harder today because he died just as Toys R Us was starting to liquidate, which is either incredibly sad or incredibly fitting, depending on who you are. I was actually talking about this with someone today, and they said, well, that's kind of almost beautiful in a way, because the guy opened his first Toys R Us in 1957, built it into this powerhouse, left in 1994. It started to suffer shortly afterwards. And as the toy store goes, as his legacy that he built up goes, he goes with it. And they said that's beautiful. I don't necessarily agree with that. I actually was looking at like, that's really sad. That's actually almost depressingly sad in my opinion. Because the guy built this empire, he built this thing, he built this legacy, he built this experience that people have such fond memories for, to the point where if Sears were to close tomorrow, not a lot of people would have, I don't think people have as many fond memories. And it's been around for years, decades. People wouldn't care. But people cared a lot that Toys R Us went away. And most people even admitted that they hadn't been to the store in a long time. And yet to hear that Toys R Us going, it's like, oh, you really? Man, now I feel guilty about that. So, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's like this, he built this thing, and he died knowing that it had ultimately failed, and that it was going to be gone very, very soon. That is just so hard to take. It makes me wish, like, couldn't Toys R Us have waited one more year before going under? Couldn't they have just held in a little bit longer so that he didn't have to see his creation dying, knowing that that's it? once those final stores close, his legacy is over. I mean, a year ago, not that it was in the best of positions, but it was continuing. He could have died knowing, like, well, I built this thing and it exists and it's going to keep going without me. This guy died knowing that what he built was going under. It was a failure. It was a massive failure in the long run, which is strange to think about because it was very successful for many, many years until the internet came along and until Toys R Us got bought out by a, very shady investment firm, which they've made videos about that. I recommend looking them up. They're very interesting. It's like this investment firm was the one that destroyed KB Toys, then they went after Toys R Us. I mean, it was like, wow, they just not want any kids to have fun? I don't know. So, yeah, Charles Lazarus, I didn't really know you before this week, and I feel sorry for that. I guess I should say thank you for your creation and for the memories. And I'm really sorry we didn't keep those memories around before you passed. I think we kind of failed you. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird feeling. I know I'm not personally responsible for what happened to Toys R Us. I mean, and heck, I bought from Toys R Us a couple weeks ago. I bought a Paddington doll. And it was like, man, I'm glad stores like Toys R Us are around. But what, one doll is not going to make a huge difference. Neither is buying the occasional video game that I did. So, Charles, thanks for the memories, and sorry we need more to preserve the legacy. That's where we're going to leave it. Please, if you're going to comment, be respectful. Have a good one.